Tom, good to see you as always. The international breaks come around again, so another good chance to catch up. Just an update on the latest FAB projects.
So yeah, I mean, even without the games, the kind of communication's still open, getting emails about various different kind of projects going on at the club, some specific individual needs as well. So we've been working with some different supporters around accessibility at the ground, some medical assistance dogs, and hopefully kind of there we'll have some sort of further updates on that, but about how we make it kind of more accessible to individuals and support those needs. And at the last home game, it was great to meet a young supporter who was coming along and the parent was saying how great it was to be able to bring young supporters to the ground and how welcome they felt. So I think individual queries like that have been really helpful and really good to discuss. I think from the start of the season, one of the kind of regular topics that came up was around the coverage. So obviously this year we've got the new Sky TV deal, which is new, it's changed the coverage of football. And I think there we get questions ranging from, was it opt-in, opt-out? And we've had to explain, this is a Football League-wide decision. It's not a decision that Northampton made individually. We did have some real issues on some of the first games, and actually from that feedback, I think by Saturday tea time, I'd obviously contacted the club. By Sunday morning, the club had already contacted the EFL to raise those questions and concerns. And again, what I think impresses me always is the communication. It's not a case of saying to the EFL, this is wrong. It's about how do we sort this? How do we support that to get that right? And actually, one of the first games where the coverage went off, it's come back that was an error that happens, a real anomaly that happens every several years. And fingers crossed it hasn't happened again since. I've been at all of the games so far, but actually, that opportunity to watch that game, and I think that product will develop over time. And if people have got feedback, let us know, because as a club, it's not then just Tom feeding back or Gareth feeding back. It's good to be able to include those views of the fans. So I think those have been some of the key topics that have come up early in the season. So yeah, it's still been a busy time, and like I said, I'd encourage people to get in contact, and I still read the social media channels and pick up on various different activities there, and have contacted some people directly over specific questions they've had. There was a question over one of the night matches here where the lights were left on in the stand, and actually it was to do around safety, but we were able to speak to the safety team here at the club and establish that, look, the concourses were really wet, the steps were really wet. Even where I sit in the West Stand, it's the first time in many years I've noticed how slippy kind of the stones were on our rows. So it's a good decision to leave that light on, but someone contacted me and we can answer that question.
Yeah, one of the real benefits of the FAB is that the individuality, the personal nature of the correspondence. It really helps in the case of the medical assistance dogs. It really helps with getting to know the individual fan and their requirements.
Yeah, and I think it's we've always said it's about opening up those communication channels both ways. That there are individuals might have an experience that we're not going to know about unless they tell us, and that's been really important. And I think in that example there, we've worked together, we've worked with various different agencies to try and get things right. Where things aren't right, we'll work together to make them even better. And I think it's that which is really important, because it's listening, and actually people can contact me directly. We can arrange Zoom meetings, team meetings, in-person meetings. And I think it's showing that actually as a club, we want to work together. And, whenever a query comes into me, if it's something I can answer straight away, I'll go back, but we'll share that feedback with the club. And whether that's James, Avril, yourself, Kelvin, there's always people willing to answer those questions openly, and we can feed that back to people. And again, on social media, it's incredibly difficult, because if I responded to every tweet and every question, I wouldn't be able to have the 2 full-time jobs that I have anyway. But it's a case then of saying to people, let's work together, let's look at a solution, let's take your ideas as well, because actually, every individual's match day experience is different. And I think that's one of the things that I've said throughout my time in this role, is understanding that just because my match day experience is this, for other people it's very different. And if we can do anything to tweak that to make it better, then we'll certainly try hard to do that.
The project I know you're really excited about, the Brian Lomax Fan Zone, announced today, and something for the FAB to really work on moving forwards.
Yeah, so when we went out to the various different groups and put messages across social media, we asked people about names and individuals potentially around kind of facilities in the East Stand, or as we redevelop different areas. One of the names that came up, I know on one of the Facebook pages, his name came up regularly. And Brian Lomax is someone that, for me, supporting the club since the late 80s, his name's always been associated with the club, and his name came up. And when we looked at different areas, the fan zone that we're looking to develop, it seemed the absolute obvious choice to name it after Brian, because he was about supporters, and to name a box or a boardroom, it didn't feel right. And actually, in consultation, the communication that's gone out with his daughter as well, it felt like the absolute right fit, that we can do something here at Six Fields, to share his memory and the legacy that lives on through Brian's legacy, to actually increase that experience for fans here as well. So yeah, his name came up again and again and again, and it felt like the perfect fit.
And a few months of planning ahead with a view to getting things up and running for the start of next season.
Yeah, I think when news like this breaks, people's first question will when, how, what's it going to involve? And the truth of that is the fans are going to have a massive say in that. We're actually looking, the funds being raised from the Stones will actually give us some finance there. There's different options there, and what we'll look at is the facilities that the fans want. And again, within that fan zone area, we have got a period of time now to get that right. And that's speaking to the matchday DJ, who've already sort of had a conversation with around when the time is right. We'll have that conversation to find out how do we best support you, what facilities do we need, and talking to fans. And we'll have further meetings. And I have to stress here, even if you're not attending those FAB meetings, there's lots of different ways. You can contact me directly if you're sat there thinking, I don't go onto any of these social media pages. Put your views forward to me. You can see me on a match day, home or away. I'm at the games. And in those discussions, what we'll then come up with is the ideas to then take back to the wider fan group. So that might be the certain elements which probably, not every aspect of it is going to go to a fan vote. There will have to be some decisions made, but let's find out what is it the fans want in there. And every time I go to an away ground, I'll try and have a look what other clubs are doing, and let's make the best Northampton Town version of that we can, and something which really kind of is fitting of Brian's name. That's
for the future, something that's very much now, of course. The 30th birthday of Six Fields coming up on Tuesday, and the Fanstones project a real good way to mark that anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's been interesting talking to supporters who were saying, maybe when Six Fields first opened, it was an idea that came up, and at the time maybe wasn't the right thing to do, but it just feels the perfect fit. And I think as we've talked more about it, as people see these develop, the sales are coming in. I think it's going to look absolutely brilliant out the front of the West Stand, where when people arrive on a match day, on a non-match day, to be able to come and see a family name, a group of friends or family names on a stone there, it's going to be a great welcome and a reminder, because I've been discussing with people, especially this upcoming week, the actual anniversary itself, what are your favourite memories of Six Fields? And yes, there's the things on the pitch, but on a personal level, that first game walking down the stairs with my mum and dad as a game, it was a true family experience. And I think that for us is what the Stones project is all about, and not only the kind of funding that's going to help the future Cobblers players and also the supporters to develop those facilities, but I think it's going to leave its mark of the club, in this 30th year here at Six Fields, and hopefully be here for a long, long time to come.